Hi everyone, I'm so happy to be here today. My name is Kirsty, I'm Director of Marketing at Chameleon. Chameleon is a platform that you can use for all of your in-app guidance and campaigns. So you get all the product tours, the tooltips, the basics of onboarding, but we level it up a little bit with some embeddable and AI guidance in there too. But one thing that's been really, really core to our marketing strategy has been personalization. Now, I feel like personalization gets talked about a lot as it's a cool thing to do, but people often don't know how to get started. So today I'm going to share with you some wins that I've had and a few things that have gone wrong along the way too. So hopefully you have some experiments that you can run and you can get a better understanding of the tooling that has helped us do a great job here. So the things we're going to look at, we're looking at data and tooling. We'll look at the channels that you need for personalization and marketing. There's so many of them, like where do you begin? And like I said, you'll get a couple of my wins and a couple of the fails too. So personalization, when we think about it, this is like a really great example. Every year you get your Spotify Wrapped. We're so excited about it, and everyone's is completely different. Gets shared far and wide. Now, mine is pretty much the same every single year. Pop princesses through and through. I love Taylor Swift, and I'm absolutely happy to shout about that. But recently I got married and I was just starting to think about, okay, what would I put on like the DJ track? What about the big moments of that wedding? Like what songs do I want to include? So I went back in time, started to look at about 10 years ago when I started dating my partner for the first time. And it was an example of when personalization can go really wrong just because, well, my mum was using my Spotify account and that changed things a lot. Instead of those classic girly pop bangers we had some, well, still classics, but of maybe a different generation. We had Robbie Williams, we had Boney M in here. One of them made it to the wedding, but none of the rest. And I think this is a really good example of like, if you're looking at whether it's like locational targeting or in a company, you've got many different personas. It can be really, really tricky to get things right here. And also another challenge with personalization is if you start looking on the web for like inspiration, it's all so high level. Like I looked at it and it was all like Adobe, Forbes, and like as a B2B marketer in a company of about 50 people, like what can I do with this? Like I need something that's like gonna work for my team. We're a team of 4 marketers, we're super scrappy, we're not Adobe. And the stats tell it all, like personalization is going to become more and more key to your strategy over the next few years. In fact, 89% of marketing decision makers, they consider essential for their business's success. And your customers, they're expecting it too. 71% want to see something personalized for them. And to top it all off, we're a rule of 3. Businesses now, they're considering their first party data to be their most valuable personalization resource. Good stats, but what do we do with them? Because when you're thinking about, okay, who's going to own this? Like, yeah, I'm excited about this. Great stats. You end up in this kind of meme within your organization where demand gen are like, no, ops, you should be starting out the personalization. And then they're like, no, the web development team, that's on you. Figure it out. But I really think marketers should be owning this, and we have all the tools at our disposal to do so. Now, you might guess from the title of my topic, we're not going to get creepy here because it can get creepy very, very quickly. Like if you go into your coffee shop and your barista starts to remember your order, like that's nice. If they have it prepared every day because they know you come in at the same time, great, that's lovely too. But if they turn up at your door with like your latte and they figured out where you live and they know everything about you, that's like way off the creepy scale. We don't want to get there today. So how do we do it? We're going to have to get the right tooling and channels in place, first of all. Now, this is what we're actually using at Chameleon. It might look a little bit intimidating at first, but trust me, it's not under the hood, and there are plenty of other variations that you could play with to get this right. You need 3 types of channel. You need to know who you're targeting. Now, that information is likely already living in what you have already. It might be in your customer data platform, something like Segment. It might be in CRM like HubSpot or Salesforce. And then you just want to layer on a little bit of tech here that's going to tell you like what companies are actually engaging with your site. We've used Clearbit in the past. We're also using Vector now, but there's other bits that are kicking about in our stack as well. Now, with all that great information that you've got there, you're going to have to put it somewhere. Like, where are you going to make it work for you? Now, at Chameleon, we use Chameleon. We use our own tool. Of course we do. We feed that information into our in-app strategy. We're also putting it into our email tool, which is Customer IO. We're using it on the website. We use a pretty niche CRM. It's called Statamic, but any website will do here. And then we also have an A/B testing tool in here, which is Mutiny. But like I said, plenty of other options. I know there's like Crazy Egg out there too. There's other ways that you can play with it. And then finally, at the end of it all, you're going to have some way of measuring if this personalization is actually working for you. We use Mixpanel. We track if our experiments are performing better or worse. We have plenty of dashboards in there. And we also use another tool, which is called Dream Data, where we look at our marketing attribution. Now, that's everything under the sun, but we're going to look at different channels. You might only need one or two of these. So like I said, don't be intimidated, but feel free to take a screenshot. Talked about tooling. Let's talk about channels. Also very overwhelming in the beginning when you're thinking about personalization. We've got so many tools, so many channels that we could use as a marketer. But how I like to think about it is which of these are going to give you the most amount of behavioral data compared to known data. So bottom left, we've got billboards. There's not so much you're going to know if you put an ad up there. You might know they're driving into the city and they're going to see it, and you can maybe make the assumption like they're on their way to work in San Francisco, for example. And then on the other end, let's look at release notes, for example. Known data there, you could probably guess that they're using your product or they're very interested in your product. But on the behavior side of things, it's a little bit more unknown. So to get your personalization strategy right here, what you need to do is find the best of both. And that's up here in the top right. So the channels that I identify for great personalization are website, interactive demos, in-app, and email. And that's what we're going to zoom in on today. Now, all of them all work together. So remember this little circle, because we'll come back to it at the end. And let's kick off. Let's go into website personalization first. Now, you probably have the most amount of traffic out of all these channels coming to your website. You could have someone reading your blog, or you could have someone who's like ready to go, picking a demo, but pretty wide pool that we can play with here. And generally, websites have a pretty good engagement rate to begin with. I looked up the average here and it was sitting at about 65%. You've got the homepage, you've got use case pages, customer stories, so much to play with. And here, what we want to do with our personalization is try and move visitors to that conversion point. Now, with personalization on the website, it really needs to be delightful. Like when I think about buyers coming to your website, they've probably got 10 other tabs with your competitors up. They're looking at them all. How are you going to make an impact here? So one thing that we did at Chameleon is we personalized the homepage. We used Clearbit data to identify what company was on the website, and we're an in-app tool. We're very customizable. We made it look like their brand was already on these product tours and surveys, so they could like start to really imagine what it would look like. When you get to the second visit, they've already been browsing. You've got a bit more behavioral data here. Now your challenge is to get more. Now, one thing that's worked well here for us is putting out some kind of survey. Like the survey has to be helpful. Like we want to show you more content that's going to help you find the right product for you or give you the right solution. And that's two things that we've tried here. Like, welcome back. What are you trying to do here today? Do you want to pick a demo? Do you want to read a case study? We want to show you that. And then on the left-hand side here, we did another one, which is what team are you on? Just tell us a little bit about your role and we're going to point you in the right direction. Then on website, after the third visit, I think this is my like tipping point where I tell people like, get a little bit wild, like go deeper with personalization and have some fun here. The example that I'm showing is when someone comes back to our homepage for the third time, they've seen it before. Let's show them something completely different. So here we show our demo booking form, we show our release notes, we try and show off some interactive demos here too. And this in itself, like, brought our conversion rate up to 5%, which is really incredible. And not just that, it put our session length up, it reduced bounce. Like, people were really, really happy to see something different. But there is a creepy personalization warning here. That first experiment that I showed you, where I was like, oh, it's so cool, it's showing all the brown colors, this is great. Some people thought it was cool too. They're like, am I crazy, or did I just see my brand on your homepage? But one on the right, I'm not sure if you can zoom in here, they were like, I can't believe it, there's this creepy website called Chameleon, they know where I work, I've never visited here before, like, what is going on? I found a Reddit thread all about this, and it got surfaced in our Slack too. So after that, we had a bit of a learning. We're like, okay, if we're going to personalize as big as we're doing here, we're going to put a little warning on it. And that's what we did. We said, this page uses personalization. Your brand is not going to be shown to anyone else here. And that really solved the problem of the creepiness. So quick tips for website personalization. I'd say start with pages that are performing like okay in the beginning. See if you can cause an uplift there. It's not one and done. You're going to have to keep personalization going over and over again. You're going to take your learnings and keep doing more. And as users continue through the website, just get a little bit deeper, show them product knowledge, and tell them how great you are as they go. Okay. Channel number 2, we're going to go into interactive demos. So interactive demos, well, they are little walkthroughs that you can capture within your own app. You can put tooltips on them, and it's like people are actually in your app, but you're showing them what you want them to show. I'll give a few examples in a second. They're really great because they have a 45% completion rate. They're amazing for your personalization strategy, and they're going to give you all that good stuff like lower bounce rates and higher session length. Every time we put an interactive demo on the website, we've seen that. And with interactive demos, it's like you're blending a bit of the website data, and you can start to move it into that post sign up moment too. A demo is worth 1,000 screenshots from your product, as I would say. Now, the great thing about an interactive demo is that it can have multiple paths. So if someone comes and they say, okay, today we're going to show you how to do segmentation, they click into it and it's like, hey, are you looking to do segmentation for company properties or for people properties? That's 2 branches that you've got already. And from there, you can start to build up lots and lots of different paths. It's almost like you've got a survey behind this interactive demo where you can go on to collect more and more information, which you can later use for personalization. Here's one that we have at Chameleon, and this is actually on a competitive page that we have against one of our competitors. And we're trying to say, like, why do companies choose us over them? There's a lot of reasons, and the temptation as a marketer is always to show like everything under the sun and be like, look how great we are. But by using an interactive demo here, we're actually able to improve conversion just because we could put people towards the things that they were interested in. It might have been customization. It might have been like A/B testing that they wanted to find out more about. And then with that information that we have in an interactive demo too, that's stuff that we can capture. And then when they do get to a key conversion point, we've got all that data. We already know why they are interested in picking us over them. So once you've got that interactive demo data, store it and come back to it in app. One thing that we do in Chameleon too is we use that data to actually show like a personalized first-time user experiences, to show the right templates, to make that onboarding even smoother. So a couple of tips for interactive demos. Break it up a little bit. It can be a lot when you're wanting to show everything, but you can use things like chapters to make it feel more natural and like it's not 50 steps that you're walking through all at one point. One thing you can do, well, with Chameleon demos in particular, is you can see who viewed your demos on the website. And then when they do make that sign up conversion, you can de-anonymize that data and know exactly what happened before. And my tip is here, like I said, they're kind of like a survey, so try rethinking them and think about how you can get more data out of them. Okay, now onto my third channel, which is in-app campaigns. So if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about here in in-app campaigns, we can have product tours, we can have tooltips, we can have AI answers. This is like everything that you can get with Chameleon, but really I'm going to focus in on onboarding 101 here. A product tour is a pretty fun way that you can get started with personalization. They've got good completion rates already. When we look at one size fits all product tours, they generally perform about 40%. If you personalize, you can make that a lot higher. Opt-in tours, for example, you can get up to about 60% completion rate. And this is a product marketing playground in particular. It's perfect for feature launches if you want to start A/B testing and personalizing your product launches too. One way that we've been using personalization with our in-app campaigns is pulling data from HubSpot. And that data here that I'm talking about is customer health scores. So personalization could go very wrong if you don't use this data in the right way, because you could end up sending an unhappy customer something about, I don't know, maybe you're doing so great in the product today. We'd love for you to have a success call, when they're actually really angry and just want to moan at someone, and vice versa. You could be just serving up the wrong messaging. So this is what we did here. We used customer health scores, and we also used how long people have been using the product to offer up our head of growth, Mason, to offer to share wins with us. And then on the other hand, maybe looking for some guidance today. We're here for you. Similarly, G2 review collection is a big part of our marketing strategy. And we use personalization based on what actions have been completed in the product to show different review asks. So on the left here, we've got super champion who's been really rocking it in the product. They see a different G2 ask than someone who might just be getting started. They're having a few wins, but they're feeling the momentum. And this has helped us, along with a few other things, get into the leader category in G2. So it was working for us. A bit of a creepy personalization warning here, as always. Just let people pick the path that they want to. If you're showing a model or a product tour, you've already used that data to show them the right thing. It can get a little bit murky sometimes, so always give them another path. Make sure you're branching off always and letting people do what they want to do, so they don't feel like they're being forced into something straight away. And then some in-app campaign personalization tips here. If you're not personalizing in-app, you're going to see average completion rates on your product tours and the like. There's more that you can do. You can start to personalize inline patterns, so it feels a little bit more natural when you're piping in all these known attributes. It's not just in their face straight away. And make sure you're using that interactive demo data that we just talked about to show the in-app campaigns. If they were interested in one thing on the website, first of all, make sure they're seeing a similar offer or experience when they actually get into the app. And we can tie that into email too, because email is going to wrap up here. Now, email, I think, come to the end because it feels like it's running alongside all of your different personalization efforts. It's a good channel, but it can be harder. Inboxes are noisy. You get a 20% open rate. They can be amazing for nudging people along their journey. Harder to control when someone's going to open your email, but still very, very powerful. So my recommendation here for your personalization in email is just to use it as a bumper. You're going to have all of your properties that you've been collecting, hopefully, in your email platform, or at least you should know a little bit about their product usage or the companies that they're working for. With that, you can start to branch your onboarding flows, or maybe your marketing newsletter nurture based on what you think they might like. maybe an enterprise company of 5,000 people won't be as interested as a scrappy startup if you're giving like quick wins that you can do today, because that just won't be applicable to them. So make sure you're building out those workflows and using all the data available. And the more you learn with email, the more you can personalize. We're not just talking about the properties, attributes. You can also learn, like, are they opening certain emails? Maybe we should be like just shifting them into that email flow rather than putting everything and everyone into one flow, because that can get a little bit overwhelming when you're getting so many emails every day, and it can be a bit of a personalization nightmare. Well, nightmare with a lack of personalization. So one thing that we've done here in our email marketing, we actually have different blocks that we use in different emails based on whether it's a role or a company. We'll use like a little short snippet to pipe that bit of content in and a bit of content for someone else. But my email personalization tips here are just go beyond hello first name. We can do better than that in 2025. I say email is where all the other channels are going to come together, and use that personalization just a little bit sparingly in email. Now, to wrap it all up, let's talk about tying all that great personalization together. We've talked about this little circle at the beginning of how all the channels are going to work together. But when we look at how everything we've talked about comes together, it gets really, really exciting. So let's start with the website. Okay, they've been on your website. We're collecting data there. We've been talking about those surveys that they might do. We've started to know more about what they want to do. Maybe they then go on to engage with an interactive demo that's on your website too. We're getting to know more and more. Now, all of that pre-sign up data is passed into your product. You can do that using your CDP, like we're talking about there, like segment. Now with that data, we can start to think, okay, are they completing in-app tours? Are they engaging? What are they interested in? Then from in-app, are they actually engaging with personalization that you're doing here? Because if not, we've got email. We can use that as a bumper. We've got all the information in here too, so that we're really showing people what they want to see and what they want to learn about. And all of that data is coming right back around again. And those known properties are going to go back into your website personalization here too. So you can start to bubble up like new product releases or release notes, so that a long-time customer is not just going to get that generic homepage over and over again, and they're going to start to learn more about your product even when they're not in your product. So where do we go from here? Well, we've wrapped this up. My top tips for personalization, I'd say start small. It doesn't have to be like this full-blown strategy that we've talked about here. It can just be one channel at a time or one experiment at a time. Think about where performance is okay and really aim to get to like exceptional performance on that channel. Data takes time. You might not have all of this right now, but you can start building up the framework to do so. And I bet that somewhere you have got a lot more than just like first name. You're going to have some basic product metrics that you can start to tie into these personalization efforts too. And finally, have fun with it. Like some of the experiments that we have ran that have performed the best, they have been the absolute wild cards. So we've like put together, we're like, oh, see what happens. Why not? But personalization is really, really fun. And the more creative that we can get in marketing, the better. So that's a thank you for me. Thank you all for joining. My name's Kirsty McConnell. I've just changed my name. But you can connect with me on LinkedIn there if you want to chat more about this. Just scan the QR code and I'd be happy to connect.
Hey, Kirsty, thank you for the presentation and thank you for breaking down the entire process. It was really useful, I think, for everyone's viewing this. I have a question for you.
Yes.
What's one low effort personalization win that marketers should try tomorrow? What would you say?
One that they should try tomorrow. Okay, one I shouldn't is just being like, hey, first name. Like, no more of that. I talk about this in all the talks. I'm like, don't do it.
Of course,
I think one thing that you can do straight away is or like some homepage testing. I think we talked
yeah.
about this a lot, but like you're going to have so much traffic there. And if you're wanting to learn quickly, can you try even saying, like, hey, we work with companies like you. Maybe you could customize some of the logos there. Maybe you could show some case studies that are from people in a similar like sector as them. Those have worked really, really well for us and they've been really low lift.
Okay, and what about the metrics that you look to judge if the personalization is working? Like, except the standard ones, I guess.
Yeah, so when we're looking at personalization metrics, like the top two, they're always going to be conversion metrics. Like, are people
Mhm.
signing up or are they booking a demo? But it can get harder than that if like an experiment's really, really tight too. So what I like to look at is engagement on page. Like, are people sticking around for longer? Are they viewing more pages? And what's the bounce rate looking like? Because with those softer metrics compared with like the harder ones, we can say there, you can really make a good educated decision on if it is or is not working.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. And what about there was one, yeah, you mentioned about some personalization fails, but can you elaborate? Like, can you share the one that taught you a lot? And what did you learn from that experience of personalization fail?
I mean, all my personalization fails come from being too over excited to use personalization. And that's where it's got like a little bit creepy, is more like location targeting. People can get freaked out by that pretty quickly. Like one thing we've tried before is just like, okay, we're running an event in X location. We think that people would like to know we're coming there, but it didn't work out so well. So that's one. And I think, like I said, just like always being transparent. Like
Mhm.
you've opted into this. We know where you. We
Where
know
you
like
are.
we know where you are. But also, what would I say about fails here too? Is people don't mind personalization as long as they know it's just them. Like when you get into a dangerous part is if you're showing like someone's logo and they don't know that that's not showing to everyone on the website and they're
Mhm.
like, I don't work with you. Like, why is my logo on your website?
Yeah, just don't be creepy. I think
Yeah,
that's why I love the name of your session. Like, don't creep your users out,
so great,
definitely.
Mark.
But use helpful personalization. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the next speaker that's in the backstage waiting to join the stage. I want to thank you for the tips and the breakdown. It was really useful and in detail, and you managed to go through everything in a short amount of time. So thank you for being part of Demand Conf, and maybe we'll see each other next year as well. Have a
Yeah,
great
I hope
day.
so. Thank you for having me. Bye bye.